are gathered here today to listen to a few fine pieces. Here's what's going to happen. We have 3 group tunes, but the last one is La Ragazza, which is a big 4-movement work, of which some of you might have heard a few of the movements, but we're going to play the whole thing tonight. So that's kind of... I'm sorry, Patrick. Don't eat the food, Patrick. So, he's so suave. There we go. So we're going to do that, and that's at the end. We've got then 2 others that we're going to play someplace in here, and 3 sets of 3 solos. Since there's only 4 persons, that means all you arithmetically inclined folks, that's 2 people get to do 2. There. Okay.
You said 3 sets of 3 solos. Isn't it 2 sets of 3 solos?
Oh yeah, 2 sets of 3 solos for those arithmetically inclined people. Yeah. Okay. And the Suzuki just finished their recital just before us, and carefully left behind us all of the goodies, including the cutest little cupcakes with treble cloths on them. So we shall eat those. Those were for Eva because she's good at that. Okay. So we're going to begin with a piece by Charlene Wallace. Charlene Wallace, a famous Canadian harpist and teacher, plays both pedal and lever harp, and this is her piece called Somewhere on the Ocean Floor. We get a chance to learn a lot of pretty difficult music when these guys have been operating at the level they have. It's really wonderful. Kaylee and Ava being the most experienced, but joined and really supported and adored are the two new people, Philip and Maddie. And they've come along and just like dived in, just kind of moving possibly above where they might have thought they would be, just because they get to play with more experienced and good players. So it's been a wonderful thing to see, and it's been wonderful the way Ava and Kaylee have helped make all that move along too. So it's I get weepy with how delightful it is. So no, it's pretty nice. Anyway, one of the composers that we've worked on a lot over the last few years is Bernard Andre. And some of you might have heard these pieces if you were at the Bernard Andre night, but if not, here's another opportunity. So we're going to have 3 pieces from his suite of Baroque dances. The first will be the Passe-Pied played by Maddie, and then Philip is playing the gigue, followed by Kaylee playing the bourrée. And I think that's all I need to say. Okay, just let me go over here and just take a different angle on things.
I don't have to move, do I?
Pardon me?
I don't have to move, do I?
You do not have to move. Now you're set up and ready to roll. This is a set of Shetland reels. So the harps were traditionally played in many, many parts of the world, but they were very popular in Scotland through the 16, 17, 1800s. That was the reign of the harp before those darn fiddles took over. This piece is from the Shetland Islands. In the very north part of Scotland, there were fewer fiddles. They were more influenced by the Norse countries, Norway and Scotland, Norway and the Scandinavian countries over there, Sweden, which was, they all had different names there anyway. So the Shetland Islands in the far north of Scotland gave us these two reels, which, well, if I don't start us too fast, will be pretty great, but you'll enjoy them. Okay, here we go. Let me just look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4. great things about being a harpist is you get to travel and see what harpers all over the world are doing because it's such a nice international community. And last year I went to Scotland to the World Harp to the Edinburgh Harp Festival with a group of 6 students, I think, including Maddie. Yeah, Maddie was the only one from this group that came. And next year I am considering a trip to, well, I'm pretty sure I'm going to go to Dinan in France, which is a beautiful harp festival dedicated to the Celtic harp from the Brittany area, the Breton area of France, to which I pretty much decided that I'm going to apply and see if they would consider having a group of harpists from Vancouver Island play for them. So stand by for the appeals for funds, because we have all these university students, well, we have several university students now in this possible mix, and one coming up and one just done, not people who are full of dough, so there you go. We will be thinking of some fundraising ideas if we're accepted, but one of the things I'm doing is recording this concert, so I have something to show them about some of the things that we could do. So that's potential in the works. It's pretty exciting. Remind me I have to do more than sweep here. There's sticky things on the floor. All right. We are going to have Maddie now play this beautiful piece by Deborah Henson-Koenig called L'Italiana. wins the award for the most distance she travels. She lives in Duncan, so she's been coming up for these lessons, for the group lessons here, commuting. Great thing about grade 12, license. But it's a lot of commitment. On top of that, as you can tell, a lot of practicing. She might win the award for the practicer of the year too. I think so. Good job. Really good job. All right. Now we have Philip playing a piece by Carolan. Carolan is an Irish composer from the 17th century, late 1800s. And his compositions are played all over the world, not only by harpists, but by all kinds of people. This was a piece of, some of his music is more influenced by the old medieval style of harping, which is slow and almost non-metrical. And then he had a whole other genre of pieces that he just made. They were kind of ditties, and those are the ones that the fiddle players play a lot. And they were made because he would be on tour pretty much a lot, a good portion of the year. That's how he made his living, by touring, of course not in concert halls in the late 1600s, but by the rich manor houses, sort of for the small kingdoms all over Ireland. So he would go there for a while, and like he would just go on tour. That was the typical thing. You might stay there for a week or two, play concerts for everybody, and then collect your dough and go back home again. So he was a wonderful musician in that ilk. This is his third category of pieces, which were very much influenced by the Italian Baroque scene that was happening in Dublin. It was a very important place for that kind of music. You just think about a few years later, Handel went there and composed and presented the premiere of Messiah. So it had all of those kinds of Baroque Italian kind of influences. And so this piece, which he is said to have composed in a dare when Gemignani, who is an Italian composer, was in Dublin and performed his piece at a party, and of course on the harpsichord. And Carolan said, "Oh, I can do that," or something to those words. Anyway, this is his concerto in D. Now it's in D. And then has managed to relearn to play it in the key of D. Can you imagine that? It's like, whoa, this is a stretch. He did it because it's part of a longer project that we're working on, most of which will happen next year, so we get to hear it. But you should know that I'm kind of, as I spend more and more time with the same students, have become trying to emphasize more and more the idea of performance pieces. We don't always do this as students, whether we're adult students or youth. You kind of learn a piece, go on to the next piece, learn a piece. But in fact, that's what the professional musicians do. If you play in the orchestra, really, you play the same things over and over again. This is true, right? I've done this, before. But And if you're a performing artist, if you're a harpist or you play piano concertos, you travel the world with an orchestra, you kind of have a list of your repertoire. You have the things that you know. And you improve upon them every year. In fact, you would not perform it until you've learned it for at least a year and you've polished it up. So for all of my students, youth and adults, I'm beginning to try to make sure that we have some performance pieces among those. Those are pieces that we know well, pieces like the Gigue that Philip learned last year, I guess. So then this year, he worked on polishing it. Wasn't it splendid the way he played that? Splendid, right? So, so sometimes in the recital, we'll mostly hear the new music, but luckily, those people that have worked on really precious and beautiful pieces that we don't want to lose track of, and then we understand the artistry of them more and more by playing them again and again in a deeper way, and those of us who listen to it get to sort of almost hear it with fresh ears, because it's so, every time it increases and is more and more beautiful. Which is to say that Ava's going to play one of those now. So she's going to play the beautiful Clair de Lune by Debussy, which, you know, there's a few pieces I've suggested that the kids owe it to me to play on my deathbed, and this is one of them. So keep it up, girl. I don't plan on going yet. She does think I'm too crazy.
Maybe one of these years I won't come back.
Yeah, that's right, but you still have to keep learning this piece, so yeah. Yeah. hear me say anything good, because usually I just criticize the heck out of her, you know. That's how it is. Because, you know, I'm trying to hold my own. It's rough. Thank goodness. Thank goodness we have Kaylee. You guys cannot possibly know how much I admire you and love the work you do and love you. It's just like, that's how it is. So let's play our big La Ragazza. Over here. They don't really need me anymore, but we've gotten used to doing it this way, so it's just the start. This beautiful piece has 4 movements, so just sit back. It's called La Ragazza, which is an Italian word for the girl. So it's a story. You can make up the parts that aren't clear to you. I think the story is there really nicely inside. Ooh. That was my music. Die out here. All right. Find a load stand. Nope. I'll just.
I can switch with your
Yeah, I think. No. We're fine. Okay, so I'll just hold my hands up high when we need them, okay? All right. So there's the movements have fancy names. 1, 2, 3, and 4. But number 3 has a couple of parts in it, so don't get lost. They'll show you when it's all over. know, you guys. It's terrific. Beautiful work. All right.